All right, it's that time of the month again. We have a new Warbond that just got announced for Helldivers 2, the Control Group Premium Warbond. And oh boy, does this look like one of the most unique Warbonds yet. So I'm gonna be breaking down everything I noticed in the trailer, and Arrowhead has also provided me with some of the weapon renders, so we get to take a closer look at some of the new items. The Control Group Warbond has 16 total items in it, making it one of the smaller Warbonds. However, it looks like one of the coolest. This Warbond theme is experimental items brought to you by the Ministry of Defense's Research and Development team. All these items have just been approved for field testing, and this just means that the Arrowhead developers got to make their wackiest designs yet and give us items that will likely cost us some reinforcements, because all of these items have a chance to end up harming the user. So first up, let's take a look at the primary weapon, the Variable, which is a 7-barreled volley gun. Now, in the trailer, they first showed a funny clip of it shooting a Scout Strider, which confused me at first until I slowed it down and realized it didn't even have the front plate at all. And this confused me because I saw it was a Scout Strider, so I thought that this primary weapon had like heavy armor pen, but then I noticed it didn't have that front plate at all, and it's just shooting the little robot on the legs. Now, later in the trailer, we do get to see it shooting a Devastator, and I did notice a couple ricochets off of the chest of the Devastator, so this gun is likely going to be light armor piercing. Now, if we look at a few real-life volley gun designs, we get some really interesting designs here, but in real life, volley guns usually only have 1 ammo per barrel. However, our volley gun in-game will have more ammo in it, given that I saw at least a couple times where they shot more than 7 times, and it has multiple firing modes, the first one being fully automatic, which even comes with 3 different fire rate options. Its second fire mode is the volley option, which is basically the semi-auto option, and it shoots 1 bullet from each barrel at a time. Or it has the total firing mode, which just goes full bushwhacker and fires all remaining ammunition in the entire gun in one go. And they said if you use the total firing mode, it will absolutely blast your character back and ragdoll you, possibly injuring or maybe even killing the user. Now, just on this first gun alone in the Warbond, this is one of the coolest and most unique weapons this game has ever had. I mean, this just looks like the most unique gun they've ever made. It technically has up to 6 firing modes if you count all the different RPM toggles. Now, looking at the weapon design itself, I'm curious where it is actually gonna hold all this ammo, or maybe some of the like lore and finer details of how this gun was developed. It almost looks like it has like a super sample icon, but obviously super samples are purple. But also, if we zoom all the way in on this warning icon, it says do not use the drugs provided in the gun. So that is a very interesting warning on this type of weapon. Now, another thing as well is given like the description of the different firing modes and firing like the total mode where you fire all the ammunition left in the gun. This is not a laser weapon. This isn't a plasma weapon. It seems like it just shoots regular bullets. And again, I am curious on the total ammo. Like, where is this gun holding all this ammo? Maybe just right here in this top barrel. It looks like it opens up here. But mostly I am curious, again, on the total ammo count, the reload speed times of this weapon. But at the very least, this is just going to be ridiculously cool and fun to play with. Even if it ends up not being good, it is very unique and it looks really cool and fun to play with. But from the looks of it, it does look like it will be pretty decent. Okay, so next up is the Plas 45 Epoch. Finally, our first plasma support weapon. Now, the design of this is basically a plasma-themed laser cannon, but it also seems to use a charge mechanic, basically like the Purifier, but also combined with the unsafe mode on the railgun, and they said this weapon can absolutely explode if you overcharge it. Now, in the trailer, we get a really quick shot of them absolutely blowing a charger's head off with this gun. I'm pretty sure the explosions on this weapon will be at least heavy armor pen, just based on the fact that it definitely blew the charger's head off. Now, I would not assume that it can one-shot a charger. We do not know how damaged that charger was in the trailer, but just having heavy armor pen explosives in and of itself is really, really cool. Now, notably, heavy armor pen explosions are insanely powerful in this game. Pretty much only stratagems, and some of our grenades actually, have access to heavy armor pen explosives. You know, weapons like the recoilless rifle or the spear or the quasar cannon, which are all anti-tank. You guys already know the projectile of those weapons is the anti-tank. The little explosions which don't even do a lot of damage on those weapons, are only medium pen. So in my opinion, this weapon actually has potential to instantly be one of the strongest support weapons in the game with heavy armor pen explosions on it. Now, of course, that's a big claim. There are a ton of factors here. You know, what is the charge time on this? How often will you explode yourself on accident? How many plasma rounds can this gun hold? And realistically, how much damage does it actually do? And is it actually heavy armor pen? I mean, they did show it blowing the head off of a charger, so I kind of just think it is. Now, zooming in on the weapon render, the warning simply says heat level plasma. So that's cool, but not too funny like the last one. And notably, this is a backpack-free weapon. Now, another thing as well is I totally did just overhype it. I'm really not trying to. I don't want to like overhype this support weapon only to be disappointed if it doesn't perform super well. But I really do want to say that heavy armor pen explosions are like really, really powerful. And if they did allow this support weapon to get it, that is something unique that no other support weapon has access to. And even if this gun doesn't like let you carry a bunch of ammo with it, you can always put on the supply backpack given that it doesn't have its own. Okay, so next up is the Lift 182 Warp Pack. Now this is the displacement field backpack from Helldivers 1. Now the Helldivers 1 version basically had a 35-second cooldown and it auto teleported you away from death. And it is not going to work the same way in Helldivers 2. Now the description we have is that the research and development department have harnessed the power of dark fluid to generate a somewhat stable wormhole on demand. So given that it says on demand, I wonder if this is activated via the backpack button, similar to the supply pack, or maybe it works like how the jump pack works, just kind of hold your mantle button. But once the wormhole is active, wearers can teleport short distances with no cooldown between jumps. In practice, the wearer is pulled into the singularity, dematerialized, and rematerialized in a new location. And each time you use this backpack, it destabilizes the wormhole in it until it eventually explodes. And the fact that this eventually explodes just reminds me of the dark fluid jump pack that we had access to on Meridia. And somebody fact check me in the comments. I believe the dark matter jump pack was guaranteed an explosion every 11th use. I want to say it's 11, but that was a while ago. I don't remember exactly. I'm hoping with this warp pack that it works similarly to the dark matter jump pack, where like it's guaranteed an explosion every 10th use or every 15th use or however many uses. All I'm really hoping for is that you can make at least about 10 safe jumps with it. I'm curious if it has the same cooldown as other backpacks, given that it just has a limited usage to begin with. But as long as it's just like predictable, you know, I can take it off and call it down after every 12 jumps I make with it. As long as I get a little bit of predictability with this, I will like using it very often. So boring details out of the way. Goddamn, this thing looks cool. I was not expecting to be Nightcrawler, but in Helldivers. And if you rematerialize inside an enemy, in the trailer at least, you just kill it. Like, holy crap, I just honestly want to take a second here to say how cool this thing looks and how clean the teleportation looks. We also get a little wormhole portal when you teleport away. The animators absolutely outdid themselves with this one. It actually just looks really, really cool and fun to use. So next up is the Laser Sentry, a heavily requested sentry by the community. A lot of people are going to be happy about this one. There's not too much to say about it. It just looks like it has a scythe attached to it, but hopefully it's at least medium armor pen like the other sentries. It has heat sinks on it, meaning it has the potential for infinite firing. And it also has the overcharge mechanic because of the theme of the Warbond. If it is shooting for too long, it will eventually overheat and explode, dealing damage to nearby enemies or Helldivers alike. Now, I wonder how long the overheat really is. Like, if you throw this right at the start of a bug breach, is it pretty much guaranteed to explode every time unless you kill everything? Like, how will this actually play out in games? Will it be useful or not? Now, this was like heavily requested by the community, a laser sentry. This isn't something I particularly wanted. It looks cool and it looks fun. I'll definitely be glad to try it out. But besides that, there's no small details I noticed here. They did not show much footage of this in the trailer. All right, and the last piece of weaponry in this Warbond is the G31 arc grenade. And I'm just gonna take a wild guess that these are just handheld de-escalator rounds. And to be honest with you guys, I am perfectly happy with that. This is literally the grenade I would have rather had instead of the Urchin. Now, they will also likely have light stun attached to them, as all other arc weaponry does. And the description we get for it is the G31 bounces while discharging electricity that strikes enemies and Helldivers in proximity. So they weirdly said bouncing. Is there like a bouncing mechanic in play? Like, does it bounce multiple times and let out arcs multiple times each bounce or something? Now, I don't want to read into this too hard because they didn't show that in the trailer at all. But again, even if this was just a handheld de-escalator round, I would honestly be probably happy with that. And the de-escalator is pretty decent anyway. Okay, so that's it for all the weaponry. The last gameplay item in this Warbond is the armor. Now, the armor sets do look pretty decent. It looks like the research and development went full mad scientist experimenting on Helldivers here. But the new armor passive for this set is called the Adreno-Defibrillator. After you take lethal damage and the Adreno-Defibrillator detects that the user has collapsed, it activates and revives the user to full health. And basically you only get one usage of this. And once it revives you to full health, you start losing health until you die again. Now, just my initial take on this is it's pretty much a side grade Democracy Protects, where instead of a 50% chance to not die, you have one guaranteed life again. And I mean, it says you continuously lose health. I'm assuming they give you enough time to make a play once you live with this armor, which means it also sounds like if you can keep chugging stims, you can extend that last life a little bit longer. Now, is this armor set gonna be good or bad? Honestly, I'm not 100% sure until I play with it, just as all the other items in this Warbond. However, at the very least, it's interesting, because the #1 complaint about Democracy Protects is that you will protect yourself from a rocket only to immediately die to the ragdoll. But this armor set pretty much lets you die and then it revives you. So that won't be happening with this armor set, at least I hope not. But you go all the way back to full health and then you're kind of on a timer with your health ticking down to make one final play. I think this armor set will be useful at the very least. Like, I don't know, how many times have you been like defending an area and if you could have held out for 10 seconds longer, it would have worked out for you. I'm also very curious if me and my whole team can just run stim pistols and just see how long we can stay alive for. I'll probably go into a level 1 mission with a friend just to see how long we can keep each other alive with stim pistols. And to be honest with you guys, I'm on the fence about this armor passive. Like, will it be good or not? But at the very least, it's very unique and it's very cool. And these are all the gameplay items in the Warbonds. You know, the emote looks really funny as well. Protect your eardrums and look at the nice squat position. So that's going to be a fun one as well. The cape, the player banners, that's all going to be personal preference, whether you like them or not. The player title is very funny because it just says we're a test subject. But this Warbond as a whole is one of their most unique ones yet. It totally has mad scientist vibes, and it looks like I'm gonna have fun testing everything out. We won't know how good any of this stuff actually is until we play with it next week. But this is one of the rare Warbond trailers where everything in it looks useful, or at least has potential to be useful. None of these items on the surface look bad in my opinion, and keyword, look, like they don't look bad. They could be bad, you never know. But again, they all at least look really fun, unique. Like, it looks like they went really hard doing the animations for a lot of this stuff, all the different firing modes on the different weapons. I am definitely looking forward to testing it all out next week, so be sure to subscribe for my Warbond review next week when it actually drops, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm out.